Section 18 of the Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri, translated by Courtney Langdon. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Inferno, Canto 18. The Eighth Circle, Fraud. The First Trench, Panders and Seducers. The Second Trench, Flatterers and Prostitutes.
A place there is in hell called Male Bolge, wholly of stone, and of an iron hue, as is the round wall which encircles it. Right in the midst of its malicious field yawneth a well exceeding wide and deep, of whose construction, in its place, I'll speak. Round therefore is the girdle which remains between the well and that hard high wall's base, and 10 great trenches subdivide its bed. As is the appearance which, where many moats encircle castles for the wall's protection, the section where they are presents, such was the one those trenches furnished here. And just as in such fortresses small bridges stretch from their thresholds to the outmost bank, so crags ran from the bottom of the cliff across the banks and trenches to the well, which gathering them together cuts them off. In this place then we found ourselves, when dropped from Geryon's back. The poet thereupon held to the left, and I behind him moved. Upon the right side I beheld new cause for sympathy, new pains, and scourges new, wherewith the first trench was completely filled. Down at its bottom naked were the sinners. This side the middle facing us they came, beyond it with us, but with quicker steps. Means such as those which at the Jubilee the Romans took, because of its great throng, to have the people pass across the bridge, who toward the castle all on one side face, and toward St. Peter's go their way, while all move toward the mountain on the other edge. This side and that, upon the dark stone floor, horned demons with great scourges I beheld, who from behind were fiercely whipping them. Ah, how they caused them to lift them up their heels, when by the first blows smitten, certainly none waited for the second or the third. While I was going on, mine eyes were met by one of them, and instantly I said, I fast not from a previous sight of him. To make him out I therefore stayed my feet, and having stopped with me, my gentle leader assented to my going back a little. That scourged one thought that he could hide himself by looking down, but little it availed him. For, thou that castest down thine eyes, said I, unless the features which thou hast are false, venedico caccianimico art. But what brings thee into such pungent sauces? And he to me,
Unwillingly I tell it, but forced I am by thy transparent speech, which makes me recollect the olden world. I was the one who led Giso la Bella to do according to the Marquis's will, however the disgusting tale be told. Nor am I here the only Bolognese that weeps. Nay, this place is so full of us that not so many tongues are taught to-day between Savena and Reno to say pipa. And if thereof thou wouldst have pledge or proof, recall to mind our avaricious breasts.
As thus he spoke, a demon with his lash smote him, and said to him,
Pander, be gone. There are no women here to sell for coin.
I then rejoined my escort, whereupon, when we had taken some few steps, we came to where a crag projected from the bank. This we ascended with the greatest ease, and turning to the right along its ridge, we left those everlasting circling walls. When we were where it hollows out below, to let the scourged pass through, my leader said,
Now stay thy steps, and on thee let the sight of all these other ill-born spirits strike, whose faces thou hast not perceived as yet, because they've gone with us in our direction.
As from the ancient bridge we watched the troop, which on the other side was toward us coming, and which the scourge was likewise driving on. Without my asking, my good teacher said,
Look at that great man there, who, as he comes, for all his pain, seems not to shed a tear. How royal an appearance he still keeps. Jason is he, who, by his doughtiness and wit, deprived the Colchians of their ram. He passed the Isle of Lemos on his way, after its pitiless and daring women had given up to death their every male. With tokens of his love and flattering words, he there deceived the maid Hypsipyle, who previously had all the rest deceived. He left her there with child, and all alone. Him to this punishment that fault condemns. And for Medea too is vengeance wrought. With him go those that in this way deceive. Be this enough to know of this first ditch, and of those two that in its fangs it holds.
Already were we where the narrow path forms with the second bank across, and makes therewith abutments for another arch. We thence heard people in the following trench who whined and groaned, and with their muzzles puffed, while smiting their own bodies with their palms. The banks were crusted over with a mould by vapour from below, which, sticking there, offensive to both eyes and nose became. So deep the bottom that there is no means of looking into it, unless one climb the arch's summit, where the crag is highest. Thither we came, and from it in the ditch people I saw immersed in excrement, which seemed from human privies to have come. While peering with mine eyes down there, I saw a head so foul with filth, that whether clerk's or layman's head it were was not apparent. Scolding, he said,
Why greedier art thou to look at me than at the other foul ones?
And I, because if I remember well, I've seen thee with dry hair ere now, for thou Alessio Interminei of Lucca art. That's why I eye thee more than all the rest. And he then, as he beat upon his pate,
Those flatteries immersed me here below, wherewith my tongue was never surfeited.
Then, after this, my leader said to me,
See that thou urge thy glance a little further, that with thine eyes thou quite attain the face of that disgusting and dishevelled wench, who yonder claws herself with filthy nails, and crouches now, and now is on her feet. That Thais is, the prostitute, who answered her paramour when he had said, Have I great thanks from thee? Nay, marvellously great. Herewith then let our sight be satisfied.
End of Inferno, Canto 18,